Hey guys, welcome to Cryptocurrency Blockchain News. Today is May 14th, 2018. Hope you had a good holiday with mom. Sorry, it was Mother's Day this weekend. Anyways, let's get into the news, crypto news. Right now, we're looking at a little pullback for the day. Not much. Bitcoin, as you can see, down just a half of a percent. Ethereum down 1%. Basically, it's between 1 and 6%. And the charts aren't looking great, but the losses aren't so bad. Look at Tron rising up down there at number 10. Go, Tron, go. All right. So that is our overall market look. These are our top 10: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, Litecoin, Cardano, Stellar, IOTA, and Tron. And let's get into the news, shall we? Today, the Chinese ministry, this is from Bitcoin Exchange Guide. China's Ministry of Industry and Infotech released blockchain project ratings. So why this is interesting, and let me go to this camera here. Why this is interesting is because, I know that people are upset about regulations and stuff. But look, me in the Forex market, we're regulated. You know what I mean? And regulation brings in the big money. Like the reason we're at a $2 trillion market a day is because people feel safe in trading the Forex derivatives contracts. That's why I trade. I'm a derivatives trader. I don't actually buy the currencies. I buy a contract for the currencies, and then I sell or buy or go long or short and then cash out when I'm ready. But so this is a good thing. So let's get into it. The Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology will be producing ratings for different blockchain products. The main purpose behind these ratings is to help the government to regulate the technology that supports cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. At the moment, there will be 28 virtual currencies and tokens that will be rated. So that's cool. I mean, that's a government rating. And like the Chinese, they are a single party system. It's the, Communist Party of China. And so they are, because they're single party, unlike here in America, they don't want to anger their constituents. In other words, here in America, one party, the liberals, they, don't mind angering the right wingers, the Republicans, and the Republicans don't mind angering the left wingers, the Democrats, as long as they get enough votes to win. But because communism, because of China is communist and they have one party, well, they're to blame for everything that goes on. In other words, I can't blame a Democrat for blah, blah, blah going on, or I can't blame a Republican for blah, blah, blah going on. Anything that goes bad, it's all on the Chinese party, the Communist Party of China. And Xi Jinping, in fact, he just got his new mandate, so now he's going to be able to rule China for a long while. But you know what I mean? So while they're commies, no dissing. I'm not dissing anyone if you're listening out there and you're in a communist country. I mean, as long as your leaders are being good to you, it doesn't really matter what system you're under. But just because they're communist and they're one party and they care about their citizens getting angry at them in order to keep power, they're going to take a good long look at these things to make sure that as the citizens use these and invest in these and all that, they're not being ripped off and stuff like that. Okay, so at the moment, there'll be 28 virtual currencies and tokens that will be rated. And so what I'm saying is the reason I'm bringing up this story for you guys is I think it's a good opportunity to whenever they're going to bring these reports out, take a look at them. Take a look at them and see what they say. I mean, we haven't had a report yet, so we don't know what they're going to say, but what criteria are they going to use to rate these things and stuff like that? And like I said, because they are so desperately not wanting their people to get angry at them and to be, down with the party, they're going to give good results. They're going to give good information. So it's good for us to look at that. All right. So this new announcement of the Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Index follows the establishment of a national standard for blockchains by China, according to the South China Morning Post. The guidelines will be ready before 2020. That's another thing. They want standardization. I mean, you remember, I don't know how old you guys are who are watching me, but I remember when computers first came out, remember we had all those different plugs for different things, the DB20, the DB9. You had to have a printer port cable, and you had to know if it was male or female, and you had to have a, whatever cable, and you had to know was it male or female on your end on the computer, and then was it male or female on the end of the machine we're connecting it to, right? And then all of a sudden came USB, Universal Serial Bus, that is now the standard, right? Now you just plug anything you buy, any component peripheral you buy, laptop, whatever, or printer, scanner, whatever, copy machine, whatever. It's all USB. But before, we actually had to know which cord we needed. And so that's what they're trying to do. If you look at it in that terms, they're trying to standardize blockchain technology. In other words, sort of plug and play, right? Like right now, it's like when I was in computer classes as a kid, they call it plug and pray, right? You'd plug it in and hope it worked, right? But then USB came along and now it works. Everything works. It doesn't matter what cable you have. I mean, it doesn't matter what peripheral you have. You plug it in the USB, it's going to work. Back in the olden days, it was called plug and pray. Remember, I'm 44, guys. I know I look young, but actually, I'm an older cat. I'm middle-aged. And so they want to get us out of the plug and pray world and into the plug and play world. And that's how China rolls. So during the last year, and with the craziness for Bitcoin and other virtual currencies, several ICOs were scams, and some of them stole the funds of the investors. Of course, blockchain is not the same, and the government has shown its support to distributed ledger technology. These new measures are trying to improve the regulatory framework around cryptocurrencies and blockchain-related activities. And then, again, the regulatory framework and the standardization of stuff. So you'll be able to just, hey, I want a blockchain, plug it in, and it'll work with all the other blockchains. Right now, man, I mean, these blockchains, it's just Wild West. Wild West. Well, we're doing it this way. We're doing it that way. We're doing it that way. They're not. Just like the computer days, just like the internet bubble days when we were younger, right? Everyone was doing their own thing. But then eventually standardization happened. It's called standardization. So this is the way we're going to do things now, right? And that's why we have, like I just said, Universal Serial Bus, USB ports, in that, all right, anything that attaches to the computer, we're going to do it through this one cable. Whereas before, it was, like I said, the DB25s, the DB9s, blah, 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 blah. That was way back in the days. I don't know how old you kids are, or if you're kids or not, but just when I was a kid, that's how it was. So that's what China's trying to do. China's trying to standardize, or they want standardization, and they are going to update us on their blockchain project ratings. So I think that's pretty cool, the rating system. And like I said, because they are so sensitive to their citizens' happiness, because if the citizens rise up, well, there's only one party to defeat. Whereas here in America, well, one rises up, oh, well, the other party doesn't care. They're happy. I assume that their ratings and stuff are going to be quite in-depth and something that we here in the Western world should be paying attention to. All right, the next story of the day, HSBC performs their first trade financial deal using a single blockchain system. This is kind of interesting because it shows the implementation of blockchain in the real world. So now let's get real world examples, and that's what we're getting here. A real world example, HSBC Holdings said on Monday it had performed the world's first trade financial transaction using a single blockchain platform in a push to boost efficiency in the multi-trillion-dollar funding of international trade. All right, so let's just move on first. While there have been other trade finance deals that use blockchain in conjunction with other technologies, the Cargill transaction marked the first use of a single shared digital application rather than multiple systems. So, in other words, one company has a blockchain here, one company has a blockchain there, and then you got to get them to talk. But these guys, HSBC and a few other companies, have gotten together and they're sort of, and this gets back to what we were just talking about, the standardization. They're like, hey, we're going to use this blockchain, use the same blockchain, and if we can get the whole industry using the same thing, that's our standard now. And so, interesting, they did one. I mean, who knows where it's going to go in the years as we move forward, but HSBC being such a big player, and Cargill as well, you could see if they've adopted this platform, and we'll get down to the name of the platform at the bottom. Well, actually, let's just take a quick peek. They are using it on a platform called Corda. Here it is. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Corda. So if they can get other companies to implement Corda, the Corda blockchain, then it's a single system. And then, again, that's called standardization. Who knows? Maybe Corda will be the shipping standard of the world. So the use of the blockchain in the banking industry is expected to reduce the risk of fraud and letters of credit and other transactions, as well as cut down the number of steps used. So you get a letter of credit. In other words, blah, blah, blah. I want to buy, I don't know, 50 head of cattle from you, right? And then that company will say, okay, and they ship you the cattle, and you get a letter of credit. In other words, you owe me for these 50 cows, and blah, 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 blah. Well, the blockchain's never going to forget that, and it'll be good for them, right? Putting all of Asia's trade-related paperwork into electronic form could slash the time it takes to export goods by up to 44% and cut costs by up to 31%, the HSBC statement said, citing a study by the United Nations. Banks have invested millions in developing blockchain applications in a bid to cut costs and simplify back-office processes, such as the settlements of securities trades. HSBC said the transaction was executed on a platform called Corda, which we just talked about, which is developed by R3, New York-based blockchain consortium whose members include more than 100 banks, regulators, and trade associations. And so that's that. They have their first letter of credit blockchain transaction done. Shows it works. And what else? The other reason I'm showing this article is that, come on, keep your spirits up. They are adapting the blockchain technology all around the world. Blockchain, Internet 2.0. We're into the future. Let's go. All right. So, what do we got? Morgan Stanley. What are these guys doing? This is by usethebitcoin.com. And that last story, it was by Reuters, which is where everyone gets their news. And we went to that one, Bitcoin Exchange. Okay, so Morgan Stanley, big time Wall Street power player. According to a report released by Morgan Stanley, cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin could allow banks to cut interest rates in the future, mitigating the impact of a future financial crisis. If banks like Morgan Stanley say these things, then we need to seriously think about Bitcoin and virtual currencies as a way to avoid risk. It's very interesting. During the financial crisis, the housing bubble, what happened was Bernanke came in. He was the Fed Reserve guy, and he did a program called QE, quantitative easing. So they just bought the bonds of everyone. In other words, they just pumped money into the system to keep it alive. And that's how we're surviving. We would literally be in a Great Depression right now if Obama didn't hire that guy Bernanke. The beauty of Bernanke, his PhD was in Depression-era financial economic policy. Like, we had the literal perfect person. We were about to go into a Great Depression. He was like, are you kidding me? I got my PhD in how to get away out of that. And he got us out of it. We would literally be in a Great Depression today, people. Your lives would be so different if that guy Bernanke wasn't around. And so thank you, Obama, for hiring that guy. And thank you, Bernanke, buddy. You did it. I'm not going to lie. As a Forex trader, you guys messed me up, though. We used to have 400 to 1 leverage. Now you got me only at 50. So the money's not rolling in like before. But All good. You saved the planet, though. So, but anyway, so we were talking about Morgan Stanley, how cryptocurrencies could change the financial landscape. In the last financial crisis, global central banks decided to cut interest rates so as to protect consumers and lenders from the effect of the crisis. In many places like the European Union, Sweden, and Denmark, the central banks imposed negative rates. Exactly. They were literally, you have to pay us to keep your money here. And people did. And so, with cryptocurrency, you won't have to, Morgan Stanley is assuming that this will help somehow. To tell you the truth, as a Forex trader, I'm all into the money. I don't get what they're saying, how these cryptocurrencies, and it doesn't explain in this article, how the cryptocurrencies are going to stop a financial crisis. But I see how, if you've got a bunch of crypto and your house went down or whatever, you still got some value. But anyway, the point is Morgan Stanley is getting involved in stuff. And so that's a good sign for all of us. All right. And it ties into this article right here, is what I really want to get into, which is that this is from the New York Times. Bitcoin sees Wall Street warm to trading virtual currency. Warming, baby. Oh, and it's warming. Remember, Bloomberg Terminal already has Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I think they have Bitcoin Cash. I'm not sure, but that's the Bloomberg Terminal. Google that if you don't know what that is. But in the trading world, I'll just tell you about a Bloomberg Terminal right now. It costs $315,000 to get one, and it costs you $31,000 a month to use it, right? And that shows you that Wall Street has said, oh yeah, cryptos are real, okay? And just look into that. Bloomberg Terminals, guys. You can have them at your house if you want. I can't afford a Bloomberg Terminal, but but if you want to trade it like you're trading at home, like me, I just use my mouse to trade right on my brokerage accounts. But man, if you got money like that, you're watching me and you got money like that, just get a Bloomberg Terminal, guy. You can trade Forex options, whatever you want on that thing. All right. So, but let's get in the news here. So, let's go back to the title of Bitcoin sees Wall Street warm to trading virtual currency. Some of the biggest names on Wall Street are warming up to Bitcoin, and the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange has been working on an online trading platform that would allow large investors to buy and hold Bitcoin. Now, that's the key. Buy and hold Bitcoin. You see, why aren't the prices going up, dog? Everyone's Ripple's up there in the banking system, man. Why isn't it going up? Blah, blah, blah's in the banking system. Because they have to buy and hold it. Yes, the CBOE, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, are offering things, right? There's new futures contracts out there. There's new, what do you call these? My gosh, ETFs, exchange traded funds. Sorry, guys, ETFs. But you're buying an instrument. You're not when you invest with them. You're buying an instrument that represents. So here's your coins. When you buy the ETFs and stuff like that, you're not buying an actual coin. You're buying a representation of the coin. Like when I trade Forex, I'm shorting maybe the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen or something. But I don't actually hold Australian dollars. You know what I mean? Or the yen, I guess I would hold in that situation. So I'm not holding yen. I buy what's called a derivative contract. So in other words, you're actually just buying a piece of paper. I know it sounds, man, you get to make money just buying pieces of paper. I know it's not even fair. Most people have to go to work. I just get to buy a piece of paper and make money. I know it's messed up. But you buy that piece of paper, and in other words, it's a derivative, meaning it derives its value from the underlying asset. So I buy I short the Australian dollar versus Japanese yen, technically, I guess I'm buying yen, but it's just on paper, right? And then when I decide to sell that paper, I get my money, right? But I don't actually hold yen. I don't actually hold Australian dollars. And that's the difference in that Bitcoins and all these cryptocurrencies, crypto assets, they're not going to rise until people hold the actual asset. So if I buy a Microsoft option, an option for Microsoft, yeah, when Microsoft goes up, I make the money. But I don't actually own any Microsoft. I own an option to buy Microsoft. What we need in this crypto world, crypto land, making all this money in crypto land. Well, what we need in crypto land is for these big institutional investors to buy and hold Bitcoin. Let's look down here. To buy and hold Bitcoin. That creates the price. That gives the price a boost. Trading options on Microsoft doesn't give Microsoft the boost. When people actually buy those shares, that gives Microsoft the boost. So I know that was a convoluted and long explanation. It's just, I don't know who's watching. I don't know if you guys know anything about economics and everything, but that's how economics works in this particular situation that I'm talking to you about. And so there it is. All right, you've learned something today. Glad I could help. So the news of the virtual exchange, which has not been reported before, came after Goldman Sachs went public. And remember, we just read the Goldman Sachs thing? So with their intention to open a Bitcoin trading unit, most likely the first of its kind at a Wall Street bank. Remember, what you have to understand, though, is Goldman Sachs, when they're going to open their exchange, they're not going to be buying and holding Bitcoins. That's why this is what matters. The New York Stock Exchange on trading platform allow large investors to buy and hold Bitcoins. Which kind of investors? Large investors. Large investors. Oh, hello, Mark Zuckerberg. Would you like some Bitcoin? Here you go, sir. Oh, Mr. Gates, welcome. Would you like some Bitcoin? Absolutely. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Jamie Dimon? Oh, you'd like some Ripple? Well, you are a banking guy. Please, come here, sir. Allow us to service you. That's the key. Buying and holding. And large investors, not just 9-to-5 worker bee type folk. Right? The moves by Goldman Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, mark a dramatic shift towards the mainstream for a digital token that has been known primarily for its underworld associations and status as a high-risk speculative investment. All right. Details of the platform that Intercontinental Exchange is working on have not been finalized, and the project could still fall apart, given the hesitancy among big Wall Street institutions to be closely associated with the Wild West of virtual currencies. A spokesman said that the company had no comment. So, nothing's final, nothing's sure. But this is what we want. This is what you pray for. We need the big boys to come in. The large institutional investors. Large institutional investors. You know what I'm saying? We need large institutional investors to not just be in it, not with options or on the futures market. The futures market, oh, it's great. Oh, the future market's open. Yeah, but they don't actually buy and hold any currencies. They're just speculating on the currencies, like I just said, through a contract, right? I don't buy Japanese yen or rubles, whatever, pesos. I buy a contract that just allows me to make money from what they do. In other words, my contract derives its value from what these do, but I don't own them. Forget these derivatives contracts. We need people, large investors, to actually buy and hold Bitcoin. In other words, buy it, buddy. Hold it. That'll drive our prices up. So that's going to happen. That's what's coming up. It's not finalized like it said, but fingers crossed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to read this, but I'll just say, blah, blah. This is another piece of research that I was into. So it's the same thing. Goldman Sachs, blah, 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 blah. They're going to allow people to trade. Exactly. See right here? they're going to allow people to trade contracts linked to the price of Bitcoin. Oh, here's a good example. Linked to the price of Bitcoin. In other words, just like my Forex market trades, my contracts, my derivatives contracts are linked to the price of yen and the ruble and the peso and that. But I don't actually own pesos and yen and all that. So this Goldman Sachs thing, all cool, you could trade it. But for us, the actual investor in the physical, I actually own Bitcoins, I actually own Ethereums, I actually own Litecoins and a bunch. We need, for you as well who own this stuff, we need them to buy and hold. Let's go back to that last article. We need big investors to come in. We need large investors to come in and what? Buy and hold that. Okay? And so last and not least, Florida. This is where we are. My name is Shamari. You know I'm down here in South Beach. Booyaka, booyaka. Just off the coast of Miami here. Florida tax collector. So this is special for all you from Florida. And all my friends here who own Bitcoin and some currencies. Well, here we go. You will now be able to pay your taxes, or some stuff. Let's read. A Florida County tax collector has partnered with Bitcoin payments processor BitPay. That company BitPay. Interesting. Might want to invest in those bad boys. They got the first government contract. If this works out, they'll probably be getting a few more. Keep that in mind for an investment opportunity down the road. To accept cryptocurrency for a variety of services. Seminole County tax collector Joel Greenberg said in a statement Monday that his office will take Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash for payments associated with driver's licenses and ID cards, automobile tags and titles, and property tax. Interesting. The collaboration with the Seminole County tax collector marks BitPay's first government partnership. Head of compliance, Jeremy Beaudry, said the company was launched because we recognized the potential for blockchain to revolutionize the financial industry, making payments faster, more secure, and less expensive on a global scale. Obviously, amazing. Arizona and Georgia lawmakers both proposed bills this year that would allow citizens to pay their state tax liabilities in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, though neither bill made it through their respective legislatures. So, Florida here, are things rolling? Arizona and Georgia looks like they flamed out. But what it's showing, the reason I bring this up again is, the adoption. It's being adopted. The blockchains are being adopted. Cryptocurrency is being adopted. And, it's time to buy and hodl. Buy and hodl, folks. Buy and hodl. Because, it's rising. The Internet 2.0 is rising. Governments know it. The corporations know it. Soon the average citizens are going to know it. And when we get the citizens in and the big investors, that's going to drive our holdings up, and we're going to make lots of money. We're going to be rich, straight up. Anyways, thank you for coming out tonight. That was today's cryptocurrency blockchain news. Please press the button. Please press the subscribe button, or there might be like a logo, my logo, the cryptocurrency blockchain logo. I think that means subscribe. Press that so you subscribe to the channel. Also, press the little finger beside there so you get the updates of every video that comes out. You don't have to keep coming back here. It'll just pop up on your screen. Thanks for coming out. We will see you next time tomorrow. Please come back every day. We're gonna try to get some info on here by 9 p.m. every night. Thanks for coming. Welcome to Cryptocurrency Blockchain News. My name is Shamari Clark. Have a good night.